Hey everybody, this is my week. Was this week 14? I believe week 14 preview. I know it's a little bit late, but the Ravens don't play till Monday, which is tomorrow. For those who are watching this right now on Sunday, but so the Ravens play the Patriots. Big game for the Ravens, not big for the Patriots, just for the simple fact that it seems that they've already locked up that number one spot. At this point, I think for the Ravens, though, I think they have a really good chance of winning this football game. This is a Ravens team that is not afraid to play the Patriots in Foxborough. They are not afraid to play the Patriots anywhere for that matter. Not afraid of Tom Brady. They have proven time and time again that they can go ahead and beat this Patriots football team. Now, the one big thing I think going into this game that's different from their previous regular season games is that the Ravens will be playing the Patriots without Rob Gronkowski on the Patriots team. So the last time the Ravens played the Patriots, there was that controversial field goal where Justin Tucker kicked it like right above the right upright, and it looks like they had to call it good, so it didn't change the call, and Ravens ended up winning that game. And later, I think, played them in the playoffs that year, and Flacco threw for 4 touchdowns. They ended up losing the game because the defense wasn't that good. Flip side now we fast forward to 2016. And here we are, the Ravens. They started off, started off strong with a 3-0. Then they finished with a 4-game losing streak. And since the bye week, they have started to get going. The defense is now proven to be definitely a top 5 defense right now in this league. They're playing really well. Tavon Young has been, I think, I would have to say, definitely the breakout star. For a lot of people didn't, because a lot of this face facts a lot. I think based on where he was drafted and what his position was supposed to be when he got drafted is really that nickel guy. But because of injuries to Sharice Wright and other cornerbacks, he was thrust into that position like, all right, we need you to go ahead and be the number 2 guy. And ever since then, he has not relinquished that spot. He has locked that thing down. Him and Jimmy Smith have been, in my opinion, I think the best tandem of Raven cornerbacks we've seen since Chris McAllister and Dwayne Starks. I'm going to say that right now. They're not the playmakers those 2 guys were, but Jimmy Smith and Tavon Young have been able to lock down receivers for the last few weeks and keeping the Ravens offense in this game. Now, to the Ravens offense. We saw them explode last week against a surging Miami Dolphins team who had just won 6 straight. Jay Ajayi was, averaging over 120 yards a game, something crazy like that. And they're going against a Ravens defense, that doesn't allow 100-yard rushers, what they're known for. But Ryan Tannehill has been playing well. Devontae Parker has been playing well. Landry has been playing well. So they're going against a very tough Dolphins team. But Ravens came into that game, and from what I understand, from what I heard, that apparently there was a meeting between Marty Morningwig, who is the Ravens offensive coordinator, and Joe Flacco, where it got kind of heated. And no one knows exactly what was said, but it sounds like Flacco challenged Marty Morningwig to be more aggressive in the play calling. Stop being so timid with the stuff. And he said over the last couple games that they were a little bit too conservative. They were a little bit too vanilla, a little too simple about their offense. And he wanted to attack. And that's what they did. They went after the Dolphins middle of the field. Pitta got involved finally. He's got 2 touchdowns. Glad to see him finally back. Him and Joe Flacco apparently have lost that chemistry, so you can definitely tell they're there. Perryman showed the speed. He had a 50-yard plus touchdown. Mike Wallace got some plays in. The ball was being thrown all over the field. Flacco, I think, threw 42, 43 times that game. While you can't argue with the results of them scoring 38 points, I need them to start running the ball a bit more to balance that game out, because you're not going to have many games like that, especially when you're playing the Patriots. The Patriots are going to be that kind of team where they're not going to turn the ball over much. They're not going to give it up on 3 and outs a lot. They're going to drive down the field good parts of the game. You're going to have to. There'll be a couple times during those drives where it'll be 3rd down and whatever, and they're going to pick up the 1st down and keep the ball moving. And they just got to stay diligent on defense with that, and I'll get to the defense part. But the offense, I think, I said in my last video, I think before in the preview for the Dolphins game, that this offense this was the game that they had to get it going. This is the game they had to explode. They had to set the fuse and just the bomb had to blow up. It had to go, and it finally did. The Ravens offense looked like a totally different team than it did the previous 13, 14 games. And they finally exploded. So now we're looking at a team now that looks like it could be complete. Now I said this is the game we're going to have to see that they played a Dolphins team. They have been notoriously average for most of their franchise history after Dan Marino, and the Patriots have always been a perennial Super Bowl favorite. I mean, every year they're expected to at least be in the AFC Championship game, it seems. And here we go again, Ravens Patriots. Ravens going into Foxborough in December. It's going to be cold. So, but you got guys like Suggs, and I think Suggs may be the only guy left from that Ravens defense that's going against Brady. But I think Suggs does, as we all know, Suggs does not like Brady. He doesn't think he's a real football player. He thinks he's too soft and all that other stuff. So he's going to come after him. But I think with this Ravens defense playing as well as it's been playing this season, they're going to get another test. They got tested against the Dallas Cowboys a few games ago, and they lost that game. Now I'm pretty sure the defense is looking at like, here we go. We're facing another high-powered offense. We got to shut these guys down. If we're going to make the playoffs, especially with the Steelers just winning their football game against the Bills, and the Steelers are good, Le'Veon Bell almost had 300 yards of total offense by himself. So I'm pretty sure the Ravens are like, look, we're in crunch mode. Every game from here on out for the Ravens is a playoff game. They have to look at it because they're not going to really have, I think, that opening that they usually have if, in other years where they could, if we lose the division, we'll get a wild card. With the Raiders at 10-3 and you get the Chiefs at 10-3, one of those guys are going to win the AFC West, and then one of those guys is going to get a wild card spot. And the Ravens already have 5 losses, so they can't count on the Raiders losing the next 3 games. They try to leapfrog them into a playoff spot. So they're going to need to win this division outright. They have to win this whole thing outright. And I think they can do it. I think they can go into this Patriots game and they can do it. The one thing the Ravens do that most teams don't seem to do against the Patriots is play them physical. The cornerbacks play them physical. I don't know if that's going to happen this game per se. Dean Pease's defense likes to go ahead and, play off guys, and you don't really like to do that against a Patriot wide receivers because those guys like to do those back shoulder passes, and they like to do, the little quick slants and stuff to kind of get the short stuff and keep moving down the field. And I guarantee you in this game, you're going to see a lot of Dion Lewis, that running back, more of a receiving back. He's more of an extra wide receiver out there for them. You're not going to really see Brady hand the ball off a lot. I think LeGarrette Blount's going to be stopped from this Ravens front 7. So they're going to be more of a passing game team. But that plays into the Ravens' hands only because it makes them one-dimensional. You stop LeGarrette Blount, you stop their running game from happening, you have to force Brady to move the ball. Now, we all know Brady is like a statue. He doesn't like to move around a lot. He doesn't like to run a lot. So I have to believe that the key for the Ravens to win this game is they got to get pressure on Brady early. Force him into situations, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 13, stuff like that. They got to force him in those situations early. Get a sack on him early. Maybe get a turnover in the first half. Definitely to try to change the moment. And you're playing against the Patriots in Foxborough, you got to flip the momentum to your side as early as you possibly can. Because the longer you let that game go, deeper into the game, that's when the Patriot fans get into it, and they realize they're close. If you keep the Patriots alive, if you keep they had to have that mindset they had against the Dolphins last week, where they got to keep their foot in the gas or keep their foot on their throat and just keep it there. Okay, they can't let off of them. You can't let a team like the Patriots have any kind of hope to win a football game. So I think going to this game, definitely for keys for the game, for the defense, got to play the receivers tight. They got to be able to play, even if they do play off them, try to help the linebacker. The linebackers got to help out in playing those zones. They try to make sure they block maybe some tip passes and things like that to block those zones where Brady doesn't have a clear lane to throw through to against those wide receivers. And if they do catch them, they got to hit him immediately. Guys like Edelman and Amendola are real shifty. They can get out of tackles and break tackles and run down the field. So they got to be able, if they do catch the ball, tackle them immediately and hit them. That's the one thing the Ravens do. If our Ravens fans remember, a few years ago when we won a Super Bowl, and I think it was Stephen Ridley had caught the ball in the middle of the field, and Bernard Pollard, hit the power button on him, knocked him out. That changed the football game right there. I think the Ravens were down by 3, and they got the ball back, went down the field, scored a touchdown, and never looked back after that. So like I said, I think if the Ravens can go ahead, play physical with this team, don't be afraid of these guys, and I'm pretty sure Suggs is going to preach that. Harbaugh too, he's going to preach that as well. And Dean Pease, he was defensive coordinator for the Patriots for years. The one thing that I think he said in his interview, the one thing that stayed consistent for him is number 12. So he knows what he's going to do. He knows he's preparing for him. That's what makes this offense go. And without Gronkowski, I think there's a better shot the Ravens play well because the middle of field and deep down the field are going to be definitely cut off by Eric Weddle playing deep, and then the linebackers playing the middle. And without Gronkowski, that big body down there who's a mismatch for pretty much anyone on the field, without him on the field, I think that's a big boost for the Ravens going into this game. Another key for the factor for this game definitely is the run game. The run game, I think, is going to be just as important as a defense, only because time of possession in this game. So I definitely believe that, I'm all for the Ravens scoring points earlier in the game. I'm all for that, definitely scoring points early in the football game. But if they get up by 14 or whatever, they get up by 20 or something like that happens, they have to run the football from that point on to control the football game. They have to control the football game. The longer you keep Brady sitting on the sideline and keep him cold, the better chance you have. You cannot let him get in a rhythm. You can't let him get hot. So I think that's the key. A lot of the young guys, I think another key for this game are the young guns. Guys like Kenneth Dixon, guys like Bashard Perryman, Kamar Aiken are going to have to be big in this game. They're going to be asked a lot, I think, in this game, especially Perryman being a deep threat. Mike Wallace, most of the definitely. Steve Smith's going to do what he's going to do, but I think, guys like Dixon, who's going to be used a lot, and Perryman, like I said, and Kamar Aiken, I think, and maybe even Chris Moore, the other wide receiver. I think the young guns are going to be definitely an X factor for this game, where they're entering a game. This is the first kind of game they're going to be playing in for the Ravens, and with the magnitude of the game is already like a playoff type game, because this is a team they could see in another few weeks in the playoffs if the Ravens do handle their business. So they're going to be asked to step up, and they're going to have to definitely step up in this game. Another key to this game, I think, is definitely Flacco. We got to see is January Joe back, as they call him. I call him, Hollywood Joe, whatever like that, Showtime Joe, when he shows up in the playoffs. But this is a playoff environment for the Ravens, and this is a part where Flacco, for what we saw last week, he threw 4 touchdowns. Can he do it again against the Patriots? This Patriots defense is not great. They definitely can be scored on. So I think as long as if January Joe shows up and he's real confident back there against the Miami game, he was driving the football, he was airing it out. I mean, he looked good. The offensive line looked really good. So I think that's going to be key. Like I said, at the end of the day, I've said it from time and time again, it comes down to the trenches. His offensive line has to provide those holes for the running backs and protect Joe. If they can do that, I think tomorrow or Monday, they have a really good shot at winning this football game. I think that's, like I said, the mental, the psychological aspect of this game cannot be understated. When teams go into Foxborough, they get scared of them because they know how dominant they are at home. The Ravens, since 2011, 2010, have been able to kill that mystique for them as the Baltimore Ravens. That hey, we're not afraid to play you guys in Foxborough. We're not afraid to play you guys in the playoffs. We're not afraid to play you anywhere. We can play you guys anywhere, any day, anytime, and we can beat you. And the Ravens have shown that. While other teams will cower and then fold in big moments during that game or whatever, the Ravens are not afraid to go after Tom Brady, blitz him, and do whatever, and be aggressive in football games like that because they are a good football team. That's the one team I think the Patriots do not want to play in the playoffs, and that's the Baltimore Ravens. So I think definitely going into this game, that's I said before, Joe Flacco's got to be January Joe. The young guns are going to have to show up. We got to see a big game from Perryman and Dixon. I think Dixon, you're going to see a lot of him. And like I said, the other key to that game is definitely going to be the run game. The run game has got to be paramount in this game. I said if you can get the points and get up early, if they can establish a solid run game, and they can end the game with like 120, 130 yards of rushing offense, the Ravens have a really good shot at winning this football game. The longer you keep Brady off the field, the better chance you have. And I said, and if they can force him, and I think the fourth key to the game is going to be turnovers. The Ravens cannot turn the ball over. You cannot give Brady that Patriots offense any extra possessions. They gotta be really careful with the football. If it's not there, I want to be aggressive, but if it's not there, they can't do it. So I definitely think The Ravens defense, if they can get, like I said earlier, if they can get a turnover, a fumble, or interception or whatever, and change that momentum early on in the football game, I like the Ravens' chances. So I'm going to go ahead and say I think the Ravens pull this out. I think it's going to be very close. I think it comes down to a 50-yard Justin Tucker field goal in the cold in Foxborough. And I think he nails it. I think the Ravens win. I do think there's going to be some points on the board, but I think it's going to end up being, let's say, I think it's going to be 33-30. I think it's going to be 33-30 for the Ravens, pulling out that game and then keeping first place in the AFC North and then moving on to Philly the next week. But you guys have any comments or anything else like that, please leave them at the bottom. And I will do like I said, I'll do my pregame stuff tomorrow. I'll be live from the hammock around halftime to see where the Ravens are and do a postgame thing afterwards. If anybody's still up at that point. But anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, peace.